His name is Benjamin Peter Ashley.
Violent, is dangerous to this community.
Dr. David Markowitz was brutally murdered.
He's going to have nowhere to hide.
Deputies were doing grid searches and they were immediately met by gunfire.
The terrain is very rugged. There are outbuildings, there are vacant homes, there are unoccupied homes. We're following up on every tip that comes in.
It's just a matter of time from our standpoint.
18 days after it began, the biggest manhunt in Kern County history apparently ended in a blaze of gunfire late this afternoon. Good evening, I'm Jason Galvin.
And I'm Kristen Price. We told you at 5 p.m. the Sheriff's Department was preparing to concede its murder suspect had slipped past a posse of 150 officers from throughout the state. At just about that same time, 6 hours ago, a dirty, smelly man with haunting blue-green eyes walked into Brady's Mini Mart on Highway 395 in Inyo Kern, about 40 miles east of the Sheriff's Command Center in Weldon. A clerk recognized him, called 911, and within minutes, a deputy confronted the man. Seconds after that, it was over. The man was dead.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood said tonight he is convinced the dead man who brandished a firearm at the Mini Mart before he was shot and killed is Benjamin Peter Ashley. But the sheriff says they're still waiting to make a positive identification. Ashley, the same man seen in these 4 photos, is suspected of murder, wounding 2 deputies in a shootout, and invading an army of officers for more than 2 weeks. Law enforcement pulled out all the stops in this search, and tonight we've done the same to cover the search's end. We have extended team coverage of today's events and a look at what led to them.
You're going to see and hear from 17 News reporters you don't usually see and hear from on weekends. We begin with a live report from 17's Anna Grazia, who has been following this case since July 29th and was the first reporter on the scene of the firefight 2 weeks ago, and again the first at the shooting this afternoon. Ann?
Kristen, it looks like this is the end of the 18-day manhunt. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood says they have not positively confirmed the identity of the man that was killed in the deputy-involved shooting, but they say he looks a lot like Benjamin Ashley.
He came in, he was dirty. Looked like he'd been hiking for a couple days.
Gary Welfel was working at his grandparents' Mini Mart when the stranger came in.
He just acted like a normal guy, so I wasn't nervous or anything about him.
Welfel says the man was friendly and talked about his trek on the Pacific Crest Trail, carrying a backpack and 2 duffel bags.
Cigarettes, water, milk, some power bars, some potato chips, ice cream.
Paying with 2 $50 bills. And Welfel said he recognized the blue-green eyes. He had seen them on a wanted poster for Ashley. Richard Barker says he saw the same man this morning in Inyo Kern.
He was standing out front asking people for money.
But it wasn't until Welfel spotted him that deputies made a move.
Had my sister call 911.
He says moments later they arrived.
We don't know yet whether he fired, but both deputies fired, striking the suspect and killing him.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood immediately flew from Bakersfield to Inyo Kern after receiving word of the shooting. Here, right behind Welfel's family store.
He killed somebody else, so eye for an eye.
And that's only if it's actually Benjamin Ashley.
I went back and it looks just like him. He has a firearm. I'm convinced that's him.
Officials say a news conference will be held on Monday, and they expect a coroner's report by then. If you would like to see the entire interview with Donnie Youngblood, you can visit our website, kerngoldenempire.com. Reporting live in Inyo Kern, Anna Grazia, 17 News.
All right, Ann, thank you. Tonight's deadly shooting culminates a roller coaster 24 hours for law enforcement involved in this manhunt. About 2 hours after officials announced Friday their command center would shut down tomorrow and the search would be scaled back, a credible tip in a nearby community sent them into a frenzy. Just before 5 Friday night, 2 911 calls reported seeing a man who looked like Benjamin Ashley, possibly armed, hiking up a rocky hill in Onyx, 5 miles from the command center in Weldon. What followed was a long, slow, and ultimately fruitless search, and we were there overnight for it. Evacuated residents in the small community of Onyx watched as sheriff's deputies, SWAT members, and U.S. Marshals converged on the biggest landmark in town, this hill.
It's a very good hiding spot. If he's in there, he is well hidden, and he could be all over that mountain, and it's easy for him to hide.
Officials said Friday they believe the sightings to be the most credible in 2 weeks.
I think when you look at the amount of resources that we've dedicated to it, we believe that the descriptions that we've received are close enough to justify dedicating those resources to this specific incident.
But the sheriff's office decided to wait until this morning to search the hill, citing its numerous hiding places.
If you've seen the hill, it's basically covered with boulders, and under every boulder is a potential spot for our suspect to hide.
Nightfall brought little action. When the sun came up, SWAT members moved in, but there was no sight of Benjamin Ashley, and hope seemingly began to fade that the accused murderer would be caught. By noon today, activity in Onyx had ceased and the all clear was given to residents left to wait for the next possible sighting.
And Benjamin Ashley has a spotty background with a few arrests in the past couple years. The most recent arrest was last October in Bear Valley Springs. 17's Ryan Blacksher-Vargas has details of Ashley's background.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood told us August 12th on 17 News at sunrise. At that point, they were still uncovering details of Ashley's past.
We know that up until age about 22, there wasn't a criminal history. So whether that was military before that or not, we don't know yet.
Benjamin Ashley was born in San Diego in September 1980. According to court records, Ashley was charged in June 2013 for camping in a public place in Santa Monica. The case was dismissed. 5 months later, he was charged with resisting arrest in Glendale. A warrant was later issued in that case. Sheriff's officials in Merced County say Ashley was located in Yosemite and cited to appear in Glendale on that warrant. He was most recently arrested in Bear Valley Springs on the same warrant out of Glendale. That case is still open. Sheriff Youngblood says Ashley was homeless and likely staying in the cabin in Twin Oaks where 3 young men reported being held hostage.
That was his place to sleep and eat. I think when he left there, he knew he'd committed a pretty serious crime. He was then armed, and I believe that when he went to Dr. Markowitz's cabin, that his intent was probably to get supplies, to get a ride, to steal a car, and ultimately I think he confronted Dr. Markowitz and brutally killed him.
In a news conference August 11th, Sheriff Youngblood said releasing Ashley's identity is an important tool not only in the search, but to keep the public safe.
We believe that this guy, given the opportunity, is probably going to kill again.
Ryan Blacksher-Vargas, 17 News.
Now for a look back at these last intense 18 days that captivated the county as law enforcement tracked their suspect. 17's Jim Scott has that part of our coverage tonight.
It started Tuesday, July 28th in rugged, scrub oak-covered mountains, approximately 40 miles due east of downtown Bakersfield, 12 miles north of Tehachapi. The area dotted with camps and cabins and abandoned gold mines, a popular area with deer and bear hunters. That afternoon, 3 men make their way to a cabin 15 miles from the community of Twin Oaks. When the 3 arrive at the cabin, they are confronted by a man with a shotgun. Sheriff's deputies say he'd been living in the cabin for at least a day. After holding the 3 at gunpoint for several hours, the 3 victims are able to escape into the woods on foot. Taking guns he stole from the 3, the man escaped on an ATV into the darkness, into the wooded hills. Wednesday, July 29th, the 3 kidnap victims alert the sheriff's department. Initial description of the kidnapper is released. The mountain manhunt begins. Day 1, the ATV is found abandoned about 2 miles away near the network of dirt roads and trails that connect both the Jawbone Canyon area and the Kelso Valley area east of Lake Isabella. Thursday, July 30th, relatives find the body of retired Tehachapi dentist David Markowitz in his retirement cabin on Jawbone Canyon Road. He's been shot to death. The crime scene is just 10 to 15 miles from where the ATV was found. A command post is established at Jawbone Canyon Road and Highway 14. Day 3, Friday, July 31st. The Sheriff's Department ramps up the search. SWAT teams on 12-hour shifts, ranches, cabins, outbuildings searched around the clock. 8:30 p.m. Saturday, August 1st. A sheriff's spokesman says a SWAT team exchanges gunfire with its suspect near the intersection of Kelso Valley Road and Jawbone Canyon Road. 2 deputies are wounded, one seriously. The suspect gets away. Sunday, August 2nd, day 5. Resources start pouring into the area. The command post is moved to the other end of the search zone, South Fork Schools complex near Weldon. Officers in armored vehicles from throughout Kern County swarm the area. Monday, August 3rd, day 6. More resources arrive. More than 100 officers on scene. Investigators release a sketch of the man at the center of the manhunt. Wednesday, August 5th, begins week 2. Deputies say they're certain the kidnapping, the murder of the retired Tehachapi dentist, and the shootout involving 2 sheriff's deputies are the work of the same man. Friday, August 7th, day 10. U.S. Marshals join the search. Tuesday, August 11th, day 14, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood reveals the identity of their suspect. His name, Benjamin Peter Ashley. Pictures of the 34-year-old are distributed, showing his ever-changing appearance in a series of mugshots. Wednesday, August 12th, week 3 of the Mountain Manhunt. A $10,000 reward is offered for information leading to Ashley's arrest and prosecution. Friday morning, August 14th, day 17. Discouraged deputies admit for the first time the suspect may have slipped from their perimeter. There are plans made to close the search command center and return most deputies to regular duties. Friday night, August 14th, the search moves to a new area after residents in Onyx report seeing a man matching the suspect's description near a huge pile of rocks off Highway 178. Deputies surround the rock pile and wait for the sun to come up. Saturday morning, August 15th, day 18. At daybreak, deputies examined the rock pile from helicopters and fired tear gas canisters into it, but there was no sign of the suspect. Saturday afternoon, a dirty, smelly man walks into Brady's Market on Highway 395 in Inyokern, well outside the search area and 15 miles from where deputies last saw their suspect. But a store clerk immediately recognizes the man from media reports and calls 911. Within minutes, the man who Sheriff Donnie Youngblood is convinced is Benjamin Peter Ashley is dead.
And initially, law enforcement focused on the Kelso Valley area. As the manhunt unfolded, we spoke with residents who live and around the initial perimeter about their experiences.
If he's that stupid to step on this property, well, I'm going to save a lot of taxpayers' money.
Homeowners in the search vicinity were prepared to protect themselves.
He's a good shot, and we got retired military there. Come on.
Helicopters overhead and the heavy presence of law enforcement were constant reminders that a killer was on the loose.
Oh, it's going all the time. And then you're wondering every little noise. Is it this moron?
From Weldon to Twin Oaks, residents were on edge.
It's something we've never dealt with before. It's always been very quiet up here. And so it's, people are really concerned about it.
Sheriff's officials said the search would not end until they found their man.
It's kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's a huge area. We have at this point a lot of people searching the haystack, and hopefully we're going to find the needle pretty soon.
And to find that needle, law enforcement brought out the heavy artillery. A police armored personnel carrier, multiple SWAT team trucks, LA, Kern, and Ventura County Sheriff's choppers, along with Mercy Air, Border Patrol, and CHP. Off-road vehicles, assault rifles, and multiple mobile command centers.
It takes time, and there are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of buildings and homes and cabins and trailers out in this area that are unoccupied.
As the search continued, residents remained cautious but confident.
I think most of us feel pretty okay, but again, safety first, so we do, carry something with us.
I'm armed, and I think I have a sign outside my house that says, is there life after death? Trespass, find out.
And the multitude of mines and copious caves scattered across the search area are a major part of what made this search so difficult, dangerous, and time-consuming. 17's Mario Montalvo has that part of our coverage.
In the midst of this manhunt, we met one man packing heat, who took us deep into the Kelso Valley for a closer look. Weldon local John Marquette cruises in his Polaris off-roading vehicle along the rugged Kelso Creek bed, covered in rocks and dry chaparral.
I'm a thrill seeker to the max.
With his .44 caliber pistol by his side, he says in his 15 years living in the Kelso Valley, he's discovered several mines and caves.
More than I count. They're all over. They're all over up here. Probably some of them I've never even found.
This is one of them. Inside,
whiskey,
a new bottle of alcohol, and a stench of urine. Or this one, which is nearly a mile long.
That would be a good spot to hide. It'd be very hard for you to find you.
A hill full of hiding places, just one stop on an 18-day manhunt in the mountains. In the newsroom, Mario Montalvo, 17 News.
3 local schools were affected by this massive manhunt. Summer programs at Paiute Mountain Elementary, South Fork Elementary, and South Fork Middle Schools were all closed. Paiute Mountain Schools started Monday, July 27th, the day before the kidnappings at a cabin. South Fork Elementary and South Fork Middle School were slated to start Wednesday, August 19th. Instead, South Fork Elementary became law enforcement's command post, about 15 miles north of the Jawbone Canyon area. The move had school staff scrambling to consider getting things ready for kids to come back to class and to make up missed days.
We have built-in snow days that we already have on our calendar so that we can make up the days.
Crews have let us come on to the campuses so that we could get all the classrooms ready and make sure that the kids are ready to come on campus come August 19th.
First the Red Cross, then the Salvation Army responded to help keep members of law enforcement well-fed and well-rested. They were asked to support the Sheriff's Department, making sure the deputies eat and have places to get some sleep between shifts. While many associate the Red Cross with helping following disasters, they do have other roles.
We're there to support those who've been affected by disaster, but we also support our government partners in canteening in these sort of events so they can focus on the job at hand, and we just make sure that they can do their job.
The Red Cross and Salvation Army helped with cots, blankets, pillows, soap, and deodorant. At one point, at the peak of the search, they provided more than 700 meals per day.
And the family of Dr. David Markiewicz has set up a scholarship fund and is asking for donations in lieu of flowers. Markiewicz is the retired dentist from Tehachapi who was allegedly killed by Ashley. You can make a donation at the Bank of the West on Tucker Road in Tehachapi. Also, a memorial for Markiewicz is scheduled for Sunday, August 23rd at 2 p.m. It will be held at Christian Life Assembly on Valley Boulevard, also in Tehachapi, with a reception to follow.
And let's not forget about the 2 deputies shot and wounded in this search. That happened Saturday night, August 1st. 40-year-old Deputy Michael Booker was shot at least twice, once in his shoulder and once in his wrist, and was airlifted to the Antelope Valley Hospital. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood said he did not see Deputy Michael Booker, who was at the shooting scene earlier this evening in Inyokern, but said Deputy Booker is doing well. Senior Deputy Jose Perez dragged him to safety. A bullet grazed his ear as he drug Booker to safety. Deputy Perez has not been back to rejoin that manhunt since.
Before we leave you tonight, we want to recap tonight's top story.
Sheriff's deputy has shot and killed a man in Inyokern, and that man may be Benjamin Peter Ashley, who deputies have been hunting for 18 days. This evening, a clerk at Brady's Mini Mart called 911 after helping a man he says matched Ashley's description. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood said tonight he is convinced the dead man is Benjamin Ashley.
And that's all for us. Saturday Night Live is next. We'll see you back here tomorrow for 17 News at 5.
Good night.